Chuck Harp. Chuck Harp, which some of you know, we have some visitors from a previous church of mine who actually went to church with Chuck Harp in the past. Chuck was an Episcopalian, the kind I understand that would argue with just about anyone. You know the kinds. If not, you probably are the kinds who don't argue with me about it. Well, Chuck one day got into a discussion with a Baptist minister about baptism and about how we just pour water on the tops of the head and they do full submerging. And Chuck said, "Pastor, if I waded in up to my knees, would you baptize me then?" He said, "No, Chuck." "How about my waist? Would you baptize me then?" "No, Chuck." "How about all the way up to my chin? I can barely breathe. How about then?" "No, Chuck." "How about I wade in up until just the only part sticking out is the very top of my head? How about then would you baptize me?" "No, Chuck. I told you that was the most important part," he said. But I can't believe you didn't get that. I think that's hilarious. You're just laughing at me now, and I appreciate the laughs. That's fine. I love baptisms. There are many traditions of baptisms, and here we seek to understand and to respect all Christian baptism. But today, what I would like to do is speak about the roots of all baptism, about where this rather strange thing comes from that we do with this water and with this gathering today. And to answer this question, we actually have to go back before Jesus, before John the Baptist in the wilderness, all the way back to our Old Testament story today of the Red Sea and God parting the Red Sea. See if you can hear it. So the story of God parting the Red Sea is about a time when God's chosen people were leaving their past lives of slavery and imprisonment and purposelessness in Egypt, right? And they were taking the courage to follow a God they barely knew. Sure, their grandparents and their grandparents' grandparents had told them about this God, but they didn't even know his name. But there they were, they followed. He stirred in their midst in a way that evoked their following him, and he followed his leaders out into the wilderness, this new way, out all the way up to the edge of the Red Sea. And there they run into the Red Sea. There's no way forward. And they turn back and they see the armies of their past life, the armies of Israel, about to come down upon them and kill them and drag them back to their past lives, their life of slavery. And their hope and their faith plummets. But right there, in the midst of that hopelessness, God does something, doesn't he? He does something spectacular, and he shows the world his character. God provides a way forward for his people in some miraculous way, allowing them to pass through those waters of the Red Sea. And then when they got to the other side, what did he do with those waters? He poured them down upon the armies of their past. He crushed them down and he washed it all away where not one was remaining, we're told. He washed away all their past which threatened to drag them back and to limit their living. He delivered them to the other side, to a life, a new beginning, with a purpose. Purpose of following him, being his people. Can you hear baptism in that? Can you hear it? You can hear it there, can't you? I've been asked many times, where is the origin of baptism? Where does that come from? And the answer is tied in with the story. You see, before Jesus and John took baptism and reapplied it to all the world, the way we use it, baptism was, research shows that baptism was a Jewish initiation rite of sorts. So follow me here. The way that if someone wanted to become a Jew, a part of the Jewish people, which was a rare thing, but when they did, what they would do, they would take them to the water, and part of their becoming Jewish is they would put them underneath the water. And they're submerged beneath the water. They're on the verge, they're on the coast of the Red Sea, surrounded by the Egyptian army. Death is coming in if they are not saved. And then as they're brought forth from the water, they're into safety. All that is washed away. And they're brought into a new life. And that water is wash away their old life. Can you see it? You can see it. This was part of their becoming part of the Jewish people, washing away those past lives so that they could be delivered to a life of new purpose of being God's children. That's a pretty powerful image, I find. What I love most about this is when we look at the way these roots of our baptisms, we look at it, we see that the Jewish people not only used this ritual because it was a way of bringing them in to be part of them, but they used that ritual because they recognized that this is what God had done for them, and this was really important. This whole washing away of the past, providing a way forward in impossible times, this is a really important part of what God does. God is a God who baptizes. Therefore, the Jews baptize. Therefore, we Christians baptize. Can we see it today? We need Him to be this God. We need Him over and over to be this God who provides ways forward through the impossible. Another dear friend of mine named Susan Graves, she once told me a story about her when she was 10 years old. Susan, a lovely person. You'd love her. But when she was 10, she wasn't raised going to church. She went to church, her and her sister, every now and then with some neighbors. So the story goes that one weekend, she got to go to church with her neighbors. And there in church, she learned about hell. And she learned about the burning there unless you were seemingly perfect. And she learned about this happening when Jesus returns, which may be that very night. And she went home as a 10-year-old, petrified. And then something strange happened, a little bizarre. She sees her older sister doing her algebra homework. And she looks over her shoulder and she sees the algebra and she thought, oh my God, what is that? I'll never do anything that complicated. She later became a physicist. But I'll never do anything that complicated. And she says, something must be wrong with me. So she goes to bed. This is all inside. She goes to bed and she's petrified, and she lies in bed that night, and she said she was crying and afraid, convinced that the God of wrath did not love her and would surely punish her for being her. Susan lay there that night. She said it was terrifying until she remembers it was like a wave. It was like a wave that washed over her, and her mind was open. And at 10 years old, God washed away those fears and showed her that He had always loved her. He had always made room for her, and that He always would. And my friend Susan drifted off to sleep, feeling like she was wrapped in the arms of a loving God, which she barely knew. She told me that story 1 week after she found out that she was dying of cancer. And she told me the story because she said, after the doctor looked her in the eye and told her she was dying of cancer, she went home. And she was terrified. And once again, she found herself, now she's in her 50s, but she found herself suddenly a 10-year-old scared little girl. She lay awake in bed. The army of death was coming, and there was no way forward in life. And she said, Rob, and God did it again. The wave, it came, and in a flash somehow showed her that He had always loved her, that He always had cared for her, and He always would. He would always make room for her. And even though the Red Sea we call death lies before her, and that disease lied behind her, He would provide her with the way through, because He is a God who baptizes, who washes away all that and provides unimaginable ways forwards through our lives. Today we baptize 3 babies. We don't do it because it's merely part of our tradition and that's what Christians do. This is an essential part of Jesus' good news to us, that God is a God who baptizes, and so therefore we proclaim it and we baptize in His name. And in so doing, we're acknowledging this, and we're also acknowledging that whether we like to think about it or not, parents and grandparents, little Jace, little Gabe, little Axel, they're all going to have these Red Sea moments, aren't they? They're going to look back and they're going to see their sins, their mistakes. And it's going to threaten, and they're going to think it's going to destroy them. And ahead, there's is going to see no way forward, and their hopelessness is going to soar, their hope die, and their faith is crumbling. We know they're going to have those moments. Why do we know that? Because we have those moments, don't we? We know that they're going to need God's help because we need His help in our lives. We know that they are going to have to face down, little fellas, you can't understand me, but you're going to have to face down the army of materialism and consumerism. And it will threaten to enslave you and to suck the life out of your lives. You're going to have to face down broken relationships, which will try to drag you back into those sick lives. You're going to have to face down depression, some of you. You are. It's in our genetics, many of us. So many armies, and to be honest, we know this because we face them too, and we know this too. You can't do it, little babies. You can't do it. You can't do it alone. But today we boldly say you're not alone. You're not alone. Your church is here, and more important than that, your God, this God who baptizes for all of us, is here. The God who says today, I love you and I forgive you, not 7 times 7, but 7 times infinity. The God who says if you're poor, you're blessed. If you're hated by others, you're still blessed. If you're nothing in the eyes of the world, you're still my blessed child. That God says, I will never leave you, for you are my child. Today we sprinkle, you can see I get a little worked up. I love this message. It's an important one to me. And yes, we'll sprinkle some water on the tops of these babies' heads. But parents, relax. It's enough. I think a God who could part the Red Seas could use a drop of water, imagine the humidity in the air, to baptize every child whose heart turns to Him. Today we pour this water on these children. We're asking God to do His thing for them. We're saying, God, do your thing. Do your thing for these babies today. And when they're 80, do it again. Do it every day in between. We're asking Him, honestly, if we're honest with ourselves, we're asking Him to do it for us too, aren't we? Today. We're asking Him to do it for each of us. Today and every day. Because we need Him to. Drive away the waters. Wash away the darkness. Anchor our hearts to you, Lord God, who baptizes all because you love all. Continue being for us the source of eternal baptism. Wash us clean to new life today and eternally. Thank you, Lord. Amen. And now,